Hello. So my name is Sharon de la Cruz, and I'm here with these lovely folks, Greg, Debbie, David, and SB, who couldn't be here today, but we're repping for SB. And we're here to talk about our VR experience called The Return Home. It's an Afro-Futuristic Carnival, and I'm exploring VR spirituality. So what does that mean? So the concept is very personal to my heart, which is the return to a place you've never been to before. I didn't grow up with Santeria, but I am exploring currently what that means to me. It is deep-rooted culturally in where I come from, but I didn't grow up with it. So what does it mean to feel, especially what I've been feeling with Santeria, which is a connection to it, even though I don't know what it is, or I didn't know what it was. It's basically a hella Octavia Butler. If you don't know about Octavia Butler, please read Wild Scene, because she's an amazing African-American sci-fi writer, basically rewrites slave narratives as sci-fi. It will blow your mind. Beautiful stuff. So my influences were Octavia Butler, definitely Santeria, and the idea of like celebration, carnival, and debunking these West African religions as scary. And so I didn't grow up with Santeria, so where's the door? How do I move forward with this? Because this wasn't like Catholic Mass. I grew up Catholic, where I can just like pop in on a Sunday. It don't work like that. It's either you're in or you're out. So my leeway, my key in was technology. It's called YouTube. You look up some stuff and you will find, just a lot of like videos, old and new, about Santeria is dance practices. Basically the music, right, is a large part of this religion. So I was able to just explore a lot of that. And there's a large mythology attached to it. And so I was able to explore what that looked like and what that meant. And also, just redefining the diaspora is still happening, folks, right? And then stop. So what does that look like? And for me, the diaspora, technology definitely has a hand in the diaspora. And that was our medium for re-exploring. And some like basic questions that we asked ourselves in the beginning is, what is blackness? What makes up identity? What does an introduction look like? Who is the audience for this VR experience? And how do we create a guided narrative in a 360 nonlinear space experience? So one of my big influences is Pedrito Martinez group. If you don't know, please, again, YouTube is like crazy. Look him up. The reason why I bring him up, or he has like his own individual slide, is because he's an Afro Cuban santero who does really beautiful stuff with mixing contemporary Cuban salsa and then Santeria and jazz, what we call jazz in the US. And so he was our inspiration for what the diaspora can sound like. This is how I storyboard. It looks like chicken scratch. But this is the VR experience, and we were talking about how do you guide someone through that space. So the beginning and the end of this VR experience is curated, right? You're literally guided through. Your movements don't do too much. But then in the middle, you have agency. You have all of the agency to stay as long as you want with certain artifacts that we place in front of you. So this VR experience is made out of what we were exploring: 360 sound. It's in Unity. We used motion capture with the lovely Debbie. And then I got to use something called tilt brush and draw in 3D, which is scary. And I did it for 4 hours in a row and didn't throw up. And that's very exciting. Different artifacts that are icons for 4 different orishas. And orishas are basically deities in Santeria. So you get to focus on these 3 different icons, and if you focus on them, you enter a certain experience. So the deity is Yemaya, which is ocean water, right? Big bodies of water flows. She flows a lot. Chango, which is like this super masculine deity. Elegua, which open and close all paths, and so he is the deity that guides you into the experience and guides you out, and then Ochun. And so we looked at those, and we decided to focus on Yemaya and her dance. And so that's a little bit what we imagined would look like. Right now, this is just in Tilt Brush, but our next steps is to put this into the VR experience. And then so then I started looking at like what space looks like, what especially a flowing skirt looks like, because that was also something that we wanted to capture. And we couldn't quite capture it in the mocap studio when we were doing motion capture, but something that's like very important to Yemaya's dance is the mimicking of like the water and how smooth that is. And the goals of this experience is to acknowledge the development of the diaspora, and it's still happening, right? That's kind of crazy. And also, when you talk about the diaspora, you're talking about people uniting. And when you want to retell your experience, this is how you do it. It's through community and building that up. Because I didn't know any of this. I didn't learn any of this in high school, right? All of this was done through research. So I'm like really excited that folks thought that this was a cool project to do as well. And also the big deal, and I think I said this earlier, was a celebration of Blackness, a celebration of really digging into the diaspora and what that looks like. Our next steps is, today is Friday, so we finalized this for Friday. We're actually talking to Pedrito Martinez to see if he can come on board for sound for this experience. And then in October, we are presenting this at the Caribbean Cultural Center. They're opening. They have an AR, VR opening experience, which is pretty exciting. I have 30 seconds, and this is the last thing that we want to show you, which is a little bit of the Yemaya dance. And you'll be able to see that a little bit when you come out with us. And then here that's where you see all of the icons, and you can focus in on a certain experience. And then that's Yemaya's dance. There's so much more to do, but this is just the very beginnings. Again, just making sure that it is a celebration is what we're going for. And so hopefully in October, it will be on Google Cardboard and you can experience it. So that is us.